spell your name for me so we make sure we get that right?
Sure, it's Jamal, Jamahal, middle initial is C, and then Boyd, B-O-Y-D, Senior.
So you're the new CEO here at Crossroads. How long have you been in business so far?
So I am the new CEO of the Crossroads Center, and as of this past Tuesday, I've been here for 9 weeks in the role and am enjoying every moment of it.
So tell me how those first couple of months have gone so far.
Well, the first couple of months have been, as they say, drinking from the fire hose, but I assume and changed the pun to drinking from the fire hydrant. It's been very exciting, very fast-paced, but also very encouraging because it gives me the opportunity to lead and learn at the same time, and learning from a sense of the culture, the consumers and our audience, our target audience and population of clients and patients, but also learning what the opportunities are outside of what my vision is for the agency.
So you'll have to excuse my ignorance, but can you kind of give me a rundown for me and probably the people that are watching this that don't necessarily know of what exactly Crossroads does for the community here?
So it's very interesting that you asked that question because there's often a lot of confusion between the Crossroads Center and the Crossroads Church and the Crossroads Health Center as well. So part of what we do is behavioral health and mental health addiction treatment services for the community in need. And my initial goal is to, one, make sure that we are clearing up that confusion about what we do versus what the church does. And I jokingly have said that we as the Crossroads Center, we're not the church, but we perform the work of the church, because a part of what we do is help people turn their lives around. And in that, I fashion that as a ministry because we are working with clients and patients at their most vulnerable points of wanting to do something about their addiction. And we have the qualified, excellent clinical staff that are here to help make sure that that happens.
So you kind of mentioned you've been drinking from the fire hydrant, but I feel like anytime you have a leadership change, there are always, things you see that you like to do differently, a kind of a new vision, maybe not vastly different, but generally speaking, a different direction that new leadership really wants to take things in. Can you talk about kind of your vision and direction you hope to take Crossroads?
Absolutely. So in most nonprofit agencies, we are normally beholden to federal funds or grants and other funding streams that help us to operate and do what we do. And one of my primary focuses is to help our agency not only be recipients of federal grant-related funding, but to run our agency like a business where we are not depending on our funding streams for our operations that are tied to grants or unsustainable funds. But one of the things that we have to do is make sure that we are able to fulfill our mission irrespective of what funding cuts or other changes in funding occur. So our primary goal is to make sure that we are available and accessible to fulfill our mission, looking at what ways we can be of service to the community in different ways and develop funds and fund development opportunities for our agency to be more sustainable. But other things in terms of what we provide and the excellent care and services that we do, we have to make sure that we have a niche market that we are able to provide services to from a training, education perspective and a service delivery perspective. So one of the strategic directions that we are going into is what are our outreach efforts and how can we expand on those from a training, education, and community engagement perspective. So really looking to ratchet that up, if you will, and also brand our agency as, we don't have to be number one, but we need to be in top of mind in that top list of agencies that do what we do well and ensure that we are available, not open 24 hours a day, but accessible 24 hours a day to make sure that if someone has a need of what we provide, we are there to provide that without turning them away or sending them to another agency.
So you've mentioned a few times, differentiating yourself from the church, rebranding. Can we expect to see, I feel like Crossroads isn't something that I've seen, on television or heard about on the radio. It's something, you do important work, but generally speaking, kind of in the background. It's not at the forefront of people's, what people see on a daily basis. Kind of sounds like that may be something you're trying to change.
Absolutely. So we're changing that immediately. So as of today, ironically, we're launching our new website. So if you go out and visit www.thecrossroadscenter.org, you'll see our refreshed, rebranded look. We've modified our color scheme to really talk about the trust, the integrity of what we do, and to really brand us in a way where we stand out from what we used to do or look like relative to our brand. So we have a new logo, we have a new website. It's more contemporary, more accessible, more user-friendly, and that is the gateway to our agency for people who might be looking in on us. So I would encourage people to go out and look at that. But you'll see that we are also ramping up our efforts to partner better with other agencies as well as other industries and those who might be interconnected to our mission and what we do to help people turn their lives around. So the criminal justice system, the school district, other places where we may not have had a strong relationship with, we're out there in the community now, strengthening those relationships so that then we can attract new clients or attract people who may have a need for what we do that may not have known who we are.
So shifting gears just a little bit, from Crossroads to you. Tell me about your background a little bit before taking over as CEO here.
Oh wow, so I am a Philadelphia native, born and raised, and moved here to Ohio about 6 years ago. I was recruited into a role with Catholic Health Partners at the time, but now Mercy Health, and was there in a number of progressive roles rather, in leadership there before I left. I was there about 3 years and then moved over to lead diversity at Tri-Health Health System and was there about 2.5 years before accepting the call to serve here as the servant leader CEO for the Crossroads Center. So my journey has been working with a couple of the major health systems here in the Cincinnati region, but then also stepping out to pursue CEO roles here. And this has been nothing but a blessing ever since assuming the responsibility of taking this agency and leading us into a new innovative space where we can serve the community in a greater capacity.
You know, personally for you, I always feel like, you know, CEOs, it's the top of the mountain. I mean, it's got to feel pretty good to have made it there, right?
Well, you know, again, my perspective is, and you'll see this in some of our branding materials, we are a puzzle. And if any piece of that puzzle is missing, then our service is incomplete. So I'm a servant leader, you know, irrespective of the title, what we do to fulfill our mission is a team effort. And I am just a part of the team that sets the strategic direction for how we get it done. And my role is no more important than the person who cleans our facility or our parking lot or the receptionist at the front desk to the executive team. So if any of those individuals do is missing, then it's incomplete. It feels great to have an executive level title, but again, it's all about meeting the needs of every client or rolling up our sleeves and doing what we need to do from a servant perspective. And you know, I believe that that's like a ministry. If we are not serving those at the capacity that we have to be of service to them, then we're doing a disservice to them.
So that's about all I've got for you. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you would like to?
Just always looking for opportunities to highlight what we do. You know, again, as we try to remove some of the ambiguity about who we are versus other agencies that might have a similar name or similar service, I welcome the opportunity to be able to help promote that and to share that with the community so that they can get what they need. And it's not about promoting the agency, but it's about the mission of our agency that we want to highlight, because there's people that are out there in need. And addiction has no color barriers or race barriers or gender barriers. Addiction hits everyone. And one of the things I do want to highlight before I close is our ultimate goal is to eliminate addiction, or try to eliminate addiction, or help people in that journey of wanting to do better with their addiction. And as I am the CEO of this agency, really providing equity in how we get to outcomes. Because no matter who you are, what color, race, gender, ethnicity, or socioeconomic status you fall in, the important thing is that we get you to a place of recovery that helps you to turn your life around. And we want to do that for everyone, not just certain portions of our community or different cultures.
So you brought up one thing that sorry, I was at the end, and I'm going to keep going. But you talked about ending the addiction here. When I first got to Cincinnati, I've only been here a few years. It seemed like the heroin opioid crisis was in pretty rough shape. How do you think the city's doing now?
I think we're progressively getting a little bit better, but there's still a disparity because there's a stigmatism in minority communities around how treatment impacts them and whether or not we are getting the data or getting people into treatment that are not being focused on primarily, and unfortunately it's a white versus black or Latino issue right now, but we have to work harder in terms of trying to improve the numbers getting people who are minorities into treatment and care so that then we can get to that equity point that I was talking about previously. But in order to do that, you got to have resources that are equitably distributed, or if it requires an additional investment or a deeper investment in those minority communities so that then we could engage more people into care, that's when those numbers are going to start to improve. That's when the impact is going to be equitably measured, across race and ethnicity. But right now, quite frankly, because the opiate situation is focused highly on the Caucasian population and not as strongly on minority, Latino, African American populations, there's a disparity that we have to work on. And again, my quest is to ensure that we get equity. It's not about race, but want to make sure that no race or ethnicity or ethnic group is left behind as a result of how we are attacking some of the addiction opportunities. And I'll also say that, one of our focuses here, the Crossroads Center, is not just to focus on, the heroin and opioid addictions. There are other addictions out there like gambling and sex and other trauma-based addictions that we could be doing a better job at serving. And we want to ramp up our efforts in that as well because, again, addiction is addiction. And we want to be able to treat effectively all of what is out there as an agency.
Great. Well, this time I think it really is it.
Okay.